So a great North London derby for the Arsenal players and for the fans, but it was a landmark day for their manager as well. Mark McAdam can tell us all about it. Who knows, they might fall short when it comes to the title race again, but Mikel Arteta continues to impress.
Yeah, huge weekend for Arsenal and that, man, wasn't it? Arsenal continually asked questions over the last few weeks in the Premier League and they've got the answers, which is very unlike them last season. They are there to challenge Manchester City, and there's only 1 point that separates the two sides. And that was a significant win for Mikel Arteta because it's now 100 Premier League wins for the Arsenal boss, which is not only significant, but when you look at the bigger picture of the success this season and he's having, it certainly paints a very positive, rosy picture in the Arsenal garden this morning. Let's take a look at how long it's taken for him to get to that milestone. And no surprises, really, who the quickest manager to 100 Premier League wins was. Pep Guardiola in 134. You can see Jose Mourinho close behind, 142. Jurgen Klopp, it took him 159 Premier League matches to get to 100 wins. Sir Alex Ferguson, 162, and then you can see Mikel Arteta, 169 Premier League games, 100 wins, which amazingly is quicker than it took Arsene Wenger, one of the greatest Arsenal managers in their history. It took him some time to get to 100 wins. So, yeah, hugely significant. Not only was it a big North London derby, but the fact that they showed that resilience and defensive quality and nous and experience and just the wise way the players went about the game in the last few moments to ensure they picked up 3 points, I think will be the biggest positive for that man.
Yeah, so what else have you picked out from this game?
Well, obviously the set pieces, the corners, hugely significant in the North London derby. And you can see why we started the show by saying that Arsenal were the set-piece kings, because that was another significant game because of the goals they scored from corners at the weekend. And why is it interesting? Because it's now 16 goals from corners for Arsenal this season, which is significant in itself. But when you go back to the last time that a Premier League side got 16 goals from corners, you have to go back to 2016-17. That man, Tony Pulis, who was a very big manager on set pieces, corners, both offensively and defensively.
Long throws too.
Yeah, exactly. And they got 16 goals back in 2016-17. So that was really impressive from an Arsenal side that are not just about being physically dominant in both boxes, but also a side that can play football as well, which makes it even more remarkable. So it's those marginal games that seem to be the difference, and they certainly were in the North London derby. One person we need to highlight, though, is the man that is responsible, and there are so many clubs that now have set-piece coaches, and obviously they spend a lot of time on the training ground. But this guy, Nicolas Jova, really interesting character, came to English football in 2016, initially to work with Dean Smith at Brentford. Then worked with Thomas Frank as well before joining Pep Guardiola in 2019. He was at Manchester City for a couple of seasons and really transformed the way they approached their set pieces. In the 2 years that he was at the Etihad, he was involved with creating a team that were very dominant offensively from corners and set pieces. 106 chances created, 16 goals in 2 seasons. And it was that success, and of course working with Mikel Arteta at City, that attracted Mikel Arteta to Jova to say, come down to London, come and be a part of what we're doing and what we're building here at Arsenal. And you can see that he's had a massive impact already. As I say, 16 goals from corners so far this season. So clearly having a big effect. And you could see from the celebrations as well, Mikel Arteta and Jova celebrating when those goals were going in from corners. And they were the difference ultimately in the end yesterday.